We're witnessing right now in the international arena slowing of momentum around many ideas of human rights. Not all. Syria is kind of black spot on the global record of human rights. How could we possibly allow this to continue? Refugees displaced inside their countries, running from warfare. Why can't the world stop the war and the US bears some of the responsibility? It should be taking in more refugees. The Syrian government doesn't want to let aid get to parts of the country that are controlled by the opposition. We need to be doing more to make sure that the UN is getting aid where it's needed in Syria. We have 2.2 million people in jails and prisons in the United States. That's an appalling number. It's bigger than Russia. It's bigger than China. It is a human rights issue. Also a weapon that our enemies, America's enemies, use against it. We live in a democracy in which 2.2 million people are in prison. And we have serious human rights issues, minority populations in this country. It is true that economic livelihoods have improved dramatically in China, and I believe the government deserves credit for that. Currently, China is in the midst of one of the worst crackdowns in 25 years in that country. Many, many activists behind bars, even the lawyers who defend those activists are behind bars. China's human rights record has deteriorated in recent years. It is not a matter of what the West thinks about China. There's a very positive human rights effort by the George W. Bush government. The work that the US government did in Sudan was extremely positive. There is no country in the world with a perfect human rights record. It's necessary to pass through some kind of transition to a more democratic form of government. This transition, this necessary transition to something better, has been incredibly painful and violent. These were very fast transitions that were not supported by civil societies that gave people habits of governance. There are 1 million people in Florida who can't vote because of a felony conviction. Describe it as not only a human rights abuse, but actually a violation of the U.S. Constitution. It's pretty clear that the discriminatory impact is huge. The largest human rights issue in the United States. Incarceration is a continuation of long-standing traditions and policies in the United States that actually began with slavery in order to keep Black participation in the political system as low as possible. Crime is very, very low in America. You wouldn't necessarily know that if you read media reports of crime. It's been even worse than we dreamed possible. I think it's a very frightening situation.